We're back with another MLS weekly recap. Now, obviously, I did a midweek stream because we're starting to get into the stretch of the season where there's two matches throughout the week, normally on Wednesdays, and then obviously Saturday and Sunday there'll be a match or a set of matches. So we're doing another recap from this previous weekend, and the first game we're going to start off with is New York City FC and Inter Miami. Now, I don't know if you guys saw that clip of the New York City FC fans um, welcoming the. I don't know if you'd call it a welcome, but definitely wasn't a warm welcome. But um, approaching or watching the Inter Miami bus come into the gate or towards Yankee Stadium for the match, and seeing the approach of them flipping the bus off and getting kind of rowdy, which I don't know how you guys feel, but I think that's awesome for soccer culture. It just shows that there's a passion, and even though Messi's an icon and probably the best player of all time, he's not necessarily going to get a warm welcome to every city that they visit. If you're enjoying the video, please make sure you give it a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video to help the channel grow. I appreciate all the help. Now, back onto the video. So that was interesting to see. I personally liked the passion, and they also had a tifo that essentially said, not to be a plastic fan, support your local club. Don't buy into the hype and be a bandwagon fan, which I like that too, because I do think people should support their local club, and that's really how things grow in this league. But back to the match. New York City FC versus Inter Miami. This is a game Inter Miami really needed. And I say that because they're trying to break a record right now. They're trying to break the New England Revolution's 2021 points record, which was 73 that they got in 2021. Inter Miami went into this game with 63 points. They need 10 points to break the record. 5 games left. They had to go. They needed 3 wins, 1 draw, and they were afforded 1 loss in order to be on pace to break this record. Well, they got a draw. They didn't look very good. They looked kind of sloppy. New York City did a really good job in this match. The field is very narrow, so it's very hard for away teams to really settle in and play well on this pitch. They had a lot of unlucky opportunities. Suarez had a couple chances. He wasn't able to score. Messi really didn't play very well in this match. Inter Miami kind of had a couple players out. Diego Gomez didn't play. Sergio Busquets didn't play. Martinez is hurt. So this wasn't their best starting 11, and they didn't look very well. They're kind of starting to slow down, which is not what you would ideally want, especially with Messi being more integrated into the team. This is where you want to see them ramp up and not really start to regress as a team. Inter Miami currently has 64 points. They've got 4 matches left. They've got to win 3 matches to break the record. So they're going to have to win 3 of the last 4. Now they could get a draw, and things would be fine, but they have to win at least 3. They have to win 3 matches, or the record is out the window. I think they're still in good standing to win the Supporter Shield. But if you saw the position they were at, they had 62 points with 6 games left. And to have 6 games left with 62 points and only need 11 points to break the record would be very disappointing if they ended up failing this to not breaking the record. I mean, they're so close. It was in the grasp of their hand. And obviously the Luis Suarez MVP momentum is kind of halted too, because he's not scored in the last 2 games and hasn't really contributed much, in my opinion. So I think that's halted, and so is the Messi MVP. Or not rumors, but momentum is also halted. And New York City FC currently in 7th place in the playoff standings in the Eastern Conference. They're tied with Charlotte FC. They really needed these points. I think it's safe to assume that they will most likely make the playoffs in 2024, that they'll end up making it. Another game is LA Galaxy and Vancouver. LA Galaxy had a bad performance against the Portland Timbers the other night. They bounced back and they won 4-2. This is a game that they needed, especially if they wanted to hold on to their Western Conference number 1 seed. which they desperately would like to have because they've been doing so well at home this year. So this is a game that they needed, especially to separate themselves from RSL and LAFC. And that's exactly what they did. They had a good game. All three designated players played very well. Puig had a goal, Peck had a goal, and Joseph Paintsel had a goal. This was a very well all around good performance by the LA Galaxy. They took care of business. They have 58 points right now. I think they're 8 points ahead of the second place contestant. Oh, excuse me, they're 7 points ahead of RSL right now. So they're in the driver's seat for the Western Conference. I think that they pretty much guarantee that they're going to win at this point. They haven't officially clinched it, but it's looking very promising for the LA Galaxy at this moment. They took care of business on the road after a poor performance against the Portland Timbers, and they're looking very good heading into the playoffs. One of the strongest teams, might be the hottest team in the Western Conference at this moment. Now, moving on to the next match, let's talk about their crosstown rivals, crosstown counterparts, LAFC. LAFC lost to Dallas 3-1. This is their third winless. Actually, I'm sorry. This is their fifth game that they've been winless in a row in MLS regular season play, and they lost the El Trafico, obviously, which they completely collapsed in that. Then they had a draw against Austin FC, and then they just lost to FC Dallas 3-1. And there's a lot of concerns right now about this team, about Giroud, if he fits in with the system, if he makes this team not play to their best abilities. Because he's not scoring goals and they have to kind of change their play. He doesn't do any running. They don't really play to the style of cross. They don't cross the ball much, which takes away a big part of his game, the aerial threat. So this LAFC team is really trending in the wrong direction. This was a team that had 2 games in hand and looked like they could even give the Galaxy a run for their money to finish at the top of the Western Conference. But that seems like that's went out the window. Now, they do play for the U.S. Open Cup final on Wednesday against Sporting Kansas City. They desperately need to get that win, especially because of Steve Cherundolo's finals record. He's like 1-5 in finals. Truly abysmal, especially for a team like this. This is not a good trend for LAFC heading closer and getting closer and closer to the playoffs. They really need to pick things up, or they're going to possibly fail early in the playoffs, maybe get bounced in like the first or second round, which would be a huge disappointment for this team, especially with the resources they've invested in this club and what the fan expectations are. So we'll see if they are able to bounce back in the U.S. Open Cup final against Sporting Kansas City, try to get some momentum with their 5 games left. FC Dallas looked really good. Musa was the big signing for FC Dallas from Benfica, and he's turned out to be really good. The moose is loose, right? That's what they say. I think he has 15 goals this year. He's looked really good. FC Dallas has kind of been struggling. They fired Nico Estevez, but they're still not out of the they're not out of the picture for the playoffs. They still could make it. They're in 10th place. They could still make that play-in spot. They're like 5 points out. And even if they don't, moral victories are, not something that you should be setting your hat on. But, they have some momentum going into next season when they get a new coach and see what happens. Musa has obviously been a very good signing. So they have some pieces heading into next year. See if Jesus Ferreira can get healthy and get situated again. There's still some hope for them this year, but if not, they are finishing the season strong. Now, as far as the other matches that's happened over this week, so Charlotte FC beat the New England Revolution 4-0, and my God, the New England Revolution have been a complete and utter disaster, dumpster fire this season. I said this in a tweet after we saw the video of the Carlos Il fight with Javi, if I'm not mistaken, that this is going to be an insane documentary, whatever happens with the 2014. From that to the Bruce Arena curse to Caleb Porter crashing out at one of his press conferences and, giving the media a hard time all season long, and not just the traditional giving the media a hard time, like really just some frustration and just honestly, I think he's been a little harsh on some of the media members just for asking simple questions. So New England Revolution look to be the wooden spoon winners of MLS in 2024. Worst team in the league. Actually, no, I think San Jose is actually going to beat them on that. So no, they won't be the wooden spoon winners, but they're damn near close to it. They're going to be the worst team in the Eastern Conference. And Charlotte wins, and they look like they're going to make the playoffs. So it's very interesting. Kind of a sad demise from New England, especially like talking about them earlier, how they set the MLS record with 73 points in 2021, and now they're one of the worst teams in MLS. Just sad to see, and just starts with leadership, and will be interesting to see if Caleb Porter keeps his job after such a bad season. I think he'll get at least one more year, at least the start of the season. But just truly sad to see. The Red Bulls and Atlanta United was a 2-2 draw. Columbus Crew are still rolling, beat Orlando City 4-3. I think I have to have Cucho Hernandez in my MVP top 3 right now, just because of how well he's been playing. I think that he's elevating as the closer we get to the end of the season. Montreal beats Chicago Fire 2-0. Nashville SC draws FC Cincinnati 2-2. Minnesota United beats Sporting Kansas City 2-0. Houston Dynamo beat Austin FC 1-0. Now, Portland and RSL, which was a great match, ended in a 3-3 draw. Evander is another player who is in contention for the MVP race. A true dark horse, I think. He's having a stellar second season in MLS. Good to see, especially with what Portland paid for him, to see him bounce back and be able to contribute and be a real factor. Probably the best playmaker and contributor that this team has had since Diego Valeri in his prime. Colorado beats Toronto 2-0. St. Louis beats San Jose 2-1. And then finally on Sunday, the Philadelphia Union absolutely lay the beat down on DC United 4-0. So things are really picking up. We have games on Saturday, and then we'll have them on next Wednesday. Not this coming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, and then we're gonna have a break. But there's only like 3 more weeks or 4 more weeks or 4 more slates of games until we hit the playoffs. We're getting closer and closer. I think October 19th is when the playoffs starts. So it's going to be interesting to see which teams prevail and who ends up making the playoffs. There's a lot of close races and teams that are just a couple points behind with 4 matches left or more. So it's going to be fun to see what happens. Let me know what your game of the week was. What was the most exciting things you guys saw? Comment down below and let me know. And also, who is your MVP so far? Who do you think's winning it? It's very close. There's a lot of people in contention for it. I don't think it's as clear cut as it has been in previous years. There's a lot of good players that's had some good seasons or that are having good seasons this year. So I'd like to know what you guys think. Comment down below. Also, make sure you like this video, share with a friend, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of my videos. And so I appreciate it, guys. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an exciting finish to the season. And until next time, I will see you all soon.